Hi everyone, this is a quick Q&A I've had from a couple recently who I had a meeting with this week, and they inquired as to how they moved to Portugal for inheritance tax reasons specifically. So their main concern is escaping UK inheritance tax. Now, just to recap the rules on this, inheritance tax in the UK with effect from April 2025 is now based on one's long-term residency status. So that's where you've been tax resident in the last 10 out of the 20 previous tax years. So you're still a long-term resident after leaving the UK for a further 10 years, which means it's a status quo, i.e. all your worldwide assets are subject to UK inheritance tax for a further 10 years after departing. Now, after 10 years of being outside of the UK, your status switches to a non-long-term residency status. And that means that you don't have any inheritance tax obligations in the UK, with the exception of UK-based assets, which will always be subject to the 40% tax charge. So the other issue you have to consider is you have to meet the definition of a non-UK tax resident each year. So for the next 10 years that you want to establish your non-long-term residency position, you need to make sure that each UK tax year you're fulfilling the criteria to be regarded as a non-resident. So this is where two sort of simultaneous tax rules interact, which is the statutory residence test 2013, which governs how much time each person is allowed to spend back in the UK without triggering tax residency, and the long-term residency rules. So from an inheritance tax point of view, long-term residency is binary. You've either been out of the UK 10 out of the last 20 years or you haven't. But from a statutory residence point of view, which is what's going to determine your non-residence tax position each year, that's a sliding scale. So if you need help or guidance on this, just let us know. But it can be as little as 16 days and it can be as high as 182 days. And it all is related to your ties and connections to the UK. So the more ties and connections you have, the less time you're allowed to be back in the UK without triggering tax residency. So I hope you found that video useful. See you soon.